Good evening, all. Hopefully, you can hear me. What's up, nerds? Another Sunday evening, another Star Citizen live stream, and this one, CIG have not really given us a lot of news to go on this week, so we are going to go and create our own. Good evening to Truther, Space Saga, to Notorious, Ray, Jag Mason, Del Kenobi, Mark Excellent, Truther. I said you at the beginning. Apologies, but you got to shout out twice because you commented twice and I can't see what I'm doing at the minute. Rusty Pigeon and Sloth, and to everyone else who is lurking. Good to see you all. I hope you're all doing well and that you've had a good week. It has been a bit of a scorcher here in the UK, so I've been away from the PC for most of the day. Visited some friends for a barbecue yesterday, which was absolutely lovely, and stayed away from the PC today to try and keep the temperature in the house down, or more to the point, upstairs down, which is where I am at the minute. So we'll see. Hey, Stunner. Hey, Jock Cop. You mean you're gonna make stuff up? Yeah. Like, how long have you been here? That's what I do, right? I make stuff up. Interestingly, the kind of the thread for this, or the thread in my thoughts process for this stream started during Fleet Week, where I'd noticed that a lot more people were kind of paying attention to Star Citizen, and I can put a number on that, so we'll have a look at that. Yeah, and I was expecting things to calm down again. Thought it was just Fleet Week. Thought it was just people tuning in for ship sales and buying ships, and then they were going to do what they always do, which is, wow, that's loud. Go back to whatever else it is that they're doing when they're not tuning in for ship sales. And it turns out that hasn't happened, so I thought that this would be a good time to talk about this. I'm just going to crack this down for me slightly, because wow, is that loud, and then I'll put it back up for you guys, so hopefully you can hear it. Hello to Shadow Girl, good to see you, to Ads Factor as well. Australia flag there, I'm thinking. I chat is very small and I can't make it bigger for blind people like me, but yeah. Let's talk Prowler variants. No. So, the title and the thumbnail are not clickbait. This is a genuine thing I've been thinking for a little while now. Not just based on the metric that I'm going to show you in a minute, but also looking at kind of my own experience of playing in the verse and the experience that we've had through DGP. Watching a dip in people doing Friday night, and then all of a sudden we are climbing back up again, which is good news. Rusty Pigeon says, got a Perseus in the last day of ILW. I'm pleased to hear that. That's good news. I am pleased for you. Well done. So yes, and whilst I'm talking, if people want to pop what they got, if they're happy to say that in chat, then that'll be good to see as well. So, is Star Citizen finally getting good? Get good, right? And I'm not talking about for us hardcore fans, the people that have been here for a very long time, or that haven't been here for very long, but have instantly been absorbed into it and kind of really enjoying it. No, the bit that I'm talking about is for everyone else. So the people who are maybe waiting, the people who have been, hey, I log in once a year to see what's changed, realise nothing has, and then log out again. And for everyone else who hasn't tried it or has been put off by the news and whatever else. And I think it's safe to say that Star Citizen is getting noticed more and more and more as time goes on. And I just want to basically take a look at why I think that is in just a second. So let's do that, and then let's do this. So this is Twitch at the moment. You can go ahead and verify this for yourself. Normally, Star Citizen sits somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 viewers. Now, I don't know if you can see it. It's about the 5th icon over. I guess I can zoom in a little and, now it's up here. 9,000 viewers. And that happened during Fleet Week. And I thought, hey, this is just a Fleet Week thing. And it's not gone down. I mean, Fleet Week ended what? Wednesday? Tuesday last week? We're still up around 9,000 viewers, and that's quite an interesting place to be, given the fact that things like Doom the Dark Ages, which has only just come out, is not even a quarter of that. So it's been really interesting to kind of see that more and more people now seem to be looking at Star Citizen, and sure, that might trail off as we go, but with the addition of content, with a patch almost every month, with the new dynamic weather effects, with the new sandbox activities that feature the big Valacar and all that sort of stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if that number stays roughly where it is, or even gets bigger. So, what is it that is drawing people back in? Is it the stability? Is it this focus on new content, something new to do every month, or every patch at least? Or is it something else? Maybe it's a combination of the two. I'd be interested to know what you guys think, and you know, what your take on it is, and how is the inverse experience, in-game experience, for you guys at the minute. So, very quickly, Stunner says he got the MTC Guardian MX on credit, the Nova weapon kit, the MP UV blades for the paint, and 2 CCUs. Nice. Very cool. Rusty Pigeon says, I'm getting excited with all these new patch content incoming and the server's holding pretty well. Yeah, I think it's something that watching the Idris get released, watching everyone get their Idris right off the bat, these huge ships with lots of stuff on them and everything else, and it during a free fly, and the servers didn't implode. They haven't been perfect. They very rarely are. But, you know, there was some server degradation towards the end. I think it was doing some pretty strange stuff as we kind of got to Drake. But when is that not the case? When is that, you know, not the case with a free fly? The fact that they threw Idrises in there, these huge entity count ships, everyone flying them around, solo crewed or with 2 people firing the main guns at stuff. That was a very, very interesting experience. The fact that the servers didn't pull a 318 on us is kind of incredible. Hey Neil B, good to see you, my friend. So yeah, that's quite an interesting thing. Yeah, so I just pointed out Star Citizen so people knew where to look, because I realised that on that screen it wasn't to say that it's 5th on the list on Twitch. I was just pointing out so people could see the viewer count there on the screen. So yeah, 9,000 viewers is quite a feat, and it seems to be coming from things like maybe the Idris, the ship that a lot of people said we were never going to get. You know, the doubters, this is never coming, rah, 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 rah. All of a sudden it's in. The server has remained roughly stable, with all the content and everything else. Dynamic weather, which we all saw at CitizenCon and thought looked really cool, but we are, and I don't think this is negative to say, I think this is just an observation. We are used to seeing stuff at CitizenCon and then not seeing it for a long old time. So the fact that we saw this dynamic weather at CitizenCon, and now we're getting it in dynamic weather in static locations, go figure. But these things are happening, and they're starting to come in, and it's an interesting set of progress. So we know that Harston has some dynamic weather. The planets in Pyro have it. Certainly ones with the sandbox activities. And I don't think it's necessarily the entire planet either, that it's certain locations within those planets. But yes, Harston has rain, as does some other locations. I think there's lightning as well, although not a lot of people have reported getting hit by it yet, I don't think. So, yeah, lightning storms are brutal, says Neil B. Very cool. Pyro 4, Pyro 1, Harston, and Area 18, says Jadomo. Sorry, Space Saga. And he's been in PTU a lot, I know, so yeah, very cool. Yeah. Jag says, yeah, think back to the state of the servers at the beginning of the year. And this is really interesting. And I'd be in, you know, like I say, what do you think? Maybe, hey, we'll put up a poll. These are always the interesting things. Let's do a poll. What has contributed to more people tuning in to Star Citizen. There's probably about 17. Stability, content, stability and content, DGP, obviously, and then it's not going to let me do something else. So I won't do DGP. I think clearly it's not that. I was just trying to be funny, but I'll put something else, and then if you put something else, I'll say put it in the chat. You probably won't, but let's go with that. Here we go. So, start poll. See what you think. So, yeah. It's been interesting, and one of the things, and it's probably the video that I'm going to make, is that I feel more inclined to log in now than I have done at any point, I would suggest, in the last... since Microtech came online. Back in 2019, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we got Microtech without the interiors at the end of 2019, we got the interiors at the beginning of 2020. And I'm more likely now to log in, or more wanting to log in now and play than I have at any time since then. Which is kind of cool. And I'm hoping, I mean, I'd be interested to see what you guys think about, you know, whether you're seeing it, whether you're like, hey, it's still too buggy, I don't want to play, or it's all you're doing. It'd be interesting. I mean, obviously, for a lot of us, this is a very skewed sample. But, because, you know, I figure if you're tuning into a stream about a game, you're probably pretty into that game, right? That makes sense. But, having said that, you know, we are best placed as people who are engaging with the verse on a regular basis to have a stab at what we think is drawing people in. So yeah, streamers and advertising, says Janos Morrissey. Interesting. Okay. Mad World, good evening, shippers. Loving it at the moment. Good. I'm pleased. Still waiting for usable swords and some kind of jetpack, says Shadow Girl. Absolutely. Which Pegasus escort carrier design is your favourite? The old Chimera version or the supposed Corvus type from the demo? So, which bit of the demo is that? Is that the bit with the big guns on the top? The Bengal looking things? Because they're battleships. I'm not quite sure what ones you're talking about in the demo. Content attracts players and stability keeps them, says Notorious. Absolutely. Jidomo says, I can confirm lightning makes you fall out of the sky. Be interested to hear that story later. No flying in thunder, says Rusty Pigeon. Absolutely. Yeah. So, hey Sebastian, good to see you too, my friend. Welcome in. So yeah, Jaguar says streamers and advertisers gotta have stuff in a stable enough game to stream and advertise. Absolutely. Hello, Stack. Welcome in, mate. I'm not playing Notorious, says I literally can't, but also because gameplay and other points of interest aren't quite there yet. Yeah. It's, what about a jetpack Atlas with 2 size 1 guns? Does it have a jetpack, Jidomo? Is that confirmed, or is that just what people want? Because those things with jetpacks is a bit silly. It kind of needs to be the Tractor Atlas, but with guns. But yeah. Hey, Redbox Stick, good to see you, mate. Long time no see. I've been space trunking the last 2 weeks, really enjoying it. I assume you mean trucking? Space trucking? But good, glad to hear you're enjoying it. The Wicklow variant, possibly, okay. So yeah, I think potentially the idea of, you know, jetpacks on that thing, yeah, not so much. It makes it too mobile as a combat thing, especially when what you've got to hit it are things like grenade launchers and railguns. I think it makes it a little bit too unbalanced, but hey, when have I ever got what CIG are going to do right? Hello, Ivory Horns. Byzed, I think it's Byzed or I'm really sorry, I'm probably butchering your name, but welcome in regardless. Hopefully you don't go, well, he can't say my name, leave. Yeah, so Ivory Horn says, first back to years back, finally jumping in for stability. The old content is new for me, the new content is just a bonus. We'll see how long everything keeps my interest. Absolutely. And the best thing I think I can say in any regard is play it for as long as you want to play it, and then don't. It seems to be the healthiest approach to the game. And just pop back whenever it takes your fancy, as with anything gaming. Sloth says, glad we're getting more mechs, but still want to see a Xi'an mech at some point. Yes, pleased for Titan suits, not so pleased with what they've done with them, but, whatever. So, let's have a look. Sebastian says, Corvus, other one from my other line gameplay vid, there was one that was similar to the Bengal and the one with big guns, but this similarly didn't have guns. Interesting. I hope it doesn't look too much like the Bengal. I'm really hoping. Shadow Girl, thank you very much. You didn't have to do that, but thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. Shadow Girl says, my belief is that most players who get hooked into the idea of the game are looking for grand experiences, and we have that more and more with the involved missions and the brig group ships. Yeah, and absolutely, the Idris is 100% one of those ships that people are just going to want to experience, whether, they jump in with a group or whether they end up psychopaths that they would be going and getting one themselves. And yes, I did just call Idris owners psychopaths. So, there. I said what I said. Fight me. Mobile says, it does. It's from the Banu dude. You need to use the Geo as a base. Use the tractor as a base for the ICT thing. I'm really not fan of the idea of them getting jetpacks. Other than the idea that they can do some sort of low combat drop, that would be really cool. But yeah. I love the characters as much, but I need 30 million AUEC. Yeah, that's a bit of a challenge. But I got some cash to burn if you wanna steal some credits. I'm more than happy to help you out with 30 mil. I don't know when the next wipe is, but if you want some stuff, I can sort you out. Mao Bodicale says, my 2060 is low spec and it's working fine. Yeah. So I think Notorious isn't playing from home all the time, so it's probably a PC thing. Or a laptop thing. Janice Morris says, we need performance improvements. Min-spec PCs can't run the game at all with the Idris we have now in-game. Not being able to disable clouds is a big hit as well. Have they removed the ability to do clouds? To take them out? Yeah, that's a bit of a... Because they were good at melting graphics cards back in the day, and I don't think they've gotten much better. The ability to remove them was kind of important. But I suppose maybe now they're going to look at it as maybe, I don't know, some sort of... I don't know. Maybe it's they'll see it as an exploit. It's like, other people can't see you in clouds, but you turn them off and you can see people. I don't know. I don't know what goes on with the fighter meta. I leave them to it. They whinge no matter what happens. It's fine. Sebastian says, I'm here for Squadron 42. Not really into Star Citizen at the moment. No, I'm really interested in that point of view, because what I hear time and time again from so many people is nobody cares about Squadron 42. Really not interested. It's all about the, it's all about the multiplayer. It's all about Star Citizen. So I'm really interested to hear the point of view. Who is? I know this is a Twitch chat thing. We'll do it in YouTube. We'll slum it. We'll slum it like the Twitch people. I'm in so much trouble later. Give us a 1 in chat if you are interested in Squadron 42. If you're looking forward to playing it, and it's either something you already own or you're going to get it when it comes out. Just give us a name. Yeah. Hello, Commander Jackal. Welcome in, my friend. It'll be... So, yeah. A few ones appearing. Good lord. A lot of ones appearing. Well, that's good news. Do you know what? Sod it. I'm going to throw my lot in there as well. There we go. Randy the Salmon Moose Morris. Mate, what a name. That's great. So, Stack, Commander Jackal, Shadow Girl, Notorious, Dell, Admiral Groofus, Jag Mason, Space Saga, Truther, Rusty Pigeon, Neil B, Janice Morrissey, the Salmon Moose Morris, Sloth, and Ray Lauderbeck. All people, obviously as well as Sebastian, all people very much waiting for Squadron 42 and looking forward to it. And yeah, I think what stands out for me at the moment about Squadron 42, after seeing the gameplay demo live at CitizenCon, was the feeling of being in an epic action movie but not being the star of it. Right? You've got, you've got Captain McLaren doing her heroic sacrifice to be able to take out the kingship, and you've got, Bishop being the strategist, and you've got all these characters moving around, and you're just a small part of this machine, right? You're flying with a legend. You're not the legend that other people are flying with. I like that idea, and not being the main character. It is very cool. Sebastian says, I'm a big fan of the original Wing Commander series. I just wanted an updated version, continue that kind of gameplay. Yeah, I get that. And I played... is it Freelancer back in the day? That was a lot of fun, and it seemed to tally with a lot of the early kind of conversation about what Star Citizen was going to be. So that was why I kind of read that and went, oh, this is going to be really cool, but it's going to be in first-person flight. That's going to be even better. So yeah, an interesting thing to have a look at. Stunner says, I was really hoping maybe CIG would have something about Squadron 42 as Summer Games Fest coming up in a week or two, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But, and we'll talk about this in a second. We have talked about this once, but I'll talk about it again because there's a lot of new faces in chat. I think Grand Theft Auto might have something to do with that. So Boyzed says, I saw you for the first time, really like your sincerity, follow this guy and put a like on the video, guys. Mate, thank you very much for your kind words, and I'm glad the sincerity is coming across. That's the whole reason why I'm here. Yeah, and it's been quite nice, actually, over the last, I would say, month, to be able to be a little bit more positive on stream with you guys, because I did feel like I started 2025 and we had Pyro, and that was like, this is really cool, and then it just tailed off. We had problems with the servers, we had some dodgy decisions, we had, and like I've always said that I'll call out the stuff that I don't like, and I was talking more about stuff that I didn't like than what I did. Now I'm getting to talk about stuff that I like, and more to the point, every time I think about Star Citizen, what I like is the first thing that enters my head. And that's a nice place to be with the game. So, yeah, I think that's we're coming back to a good place with it. Janos Jenkins now ask who has it already. Well, interestingly, I got the add-on, and I've got the then I got the concierge reward of Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So I'm thinking closer to release we'll do a giveaway with the add-on that I've got, because that'll be fun, right? I don't talk to CIG, CIG don't talk to me. I probably should update my contact email on my YouTube channel, because it's not that one anymore, because I was paying for that mailbox for literally no reason, because I wasn't getting any emails. So yeah, I think if they have tried to reach out, they're not getting any responses, they're getting a dead email response. But I don't get stuff to give away and all that sort of stuff. So maybe we'll have a look at that and give Squadron 42 away to someone to enjoy it. But just know that if I do that, I will tell you on live streams that I'm going to do a giveaway, but it will not be in the title, it will not be in the thumbnail. I will not be doing that, because all that happens is you get an influx of people who come in for the giveaway, they take the giveaway stuff, and then they never come back. And all you people who sit here and listen to me rant and rave and be a lunatic on camera don't get rewarded. So there will be no giveaway. And I know people are like, well, that's not how you grow your channel. I don't care. I want to reward you guys for being here. So we'll do that kind of closer-ish the time. Maybe when we get a release date, or, maybe a couple months before the release date, so you know that you've got one. You don't have to save up for it. You don't have to worry about getting it. You're going to have it on launch. But we'll do a game package. So maybe if you want to, hold off. If not, that's good too. So yeah, Shadow Girl says, I watched Squadron 42 demo again a few days ago. It's so good. Stakara Gord says, after the gameplay demo, I was hooked 100%. Every so often, I do just, oh, good lord, I just got flashbanged by YouTube. That hurt. Why is it when I get flashbanged? If anyone knows that reference, you are old. You are very old. But yes, that's all good. I want to be Bishop, says Groofus. Don't a lot of people. And Gary Oldman's just such an iconic actor. He is so good. Apologies, you're going to get a burst of noise. I'm going to mute it, but I'm not going to get there before the ads. Oh no, we're all good. We're all good. So, because one of my favourite parts of this entire video is the whole his speech. We might just watch that. We might, and then what I'll do is I'll mute the sound again, and we can just have it running in the background. But yeah, because let's face it, it's kind of cool. And this is what we're talking about, as well as it's Star Citizen getting good. Freelancer for me also says Rusty. Yeah, that was good. Jack Mason says, when people back the game might determine who's interested in Squadron 42 or not. I backed in 2014, was definitely interested in both. Yeah, and this was the really interesting thing. That the idea was, that you didn't have to do it like this. You were always going to be able to just go into Star Citizen. But the idea was you would finish Squadron 42, which I guess at that time was going to be one game. And then you would muster out into the verse and then, continue your career as a space something in Star Citizen, which was a really cool idea. And then obviously they kind of just went, we're going to separate it completely and you won't be the character that you were in the verse and stuff, because now we're going episodic and, all that sort of stuff. And if your character's got into Star Citizen, died a bunch of times, and now you're the heir of the heir of the heir of the heir, it's going to be a bit weird to go, oh yeah, you can just come back and do all the stuff that your great-great-great-great-grandfather was doing. It's just like, no, that's not how that works. So they've obviously abandoned that a little bit. But yeah, and you can see why, right? That's making sense. Is that making sense? I don't know. Shadow Girl says, I like watching other people watching the demo. The best was watching a filmmaker who specifically could recognise all the different camera work styles and techniques, and he was so impressed. Was that the guy with the beard? Because I agree with you 100%. What I found really interesting about that was he knew nothing. Do we want to watch that? Do we want to watch little snippets of it? Because what I love about this, more than anything else in the world, what I absolutely love about it is that it's that ability to see the game for the first time through someone else's eyes. Right? Watching the game through someone who knows nothing about it, who doesn't know what's going on, who doesn't understand all that sort of stuff. Watching them see it for the first time is really, really cool. In the same way that I love bringing people into the verse who haven't played it before and go, look, this is how all this works, and getting that kind of, oh my god, this is really cool sort of reaction. He went on Space Tomato as a guest. I've not seen that, Jademo. I'm going to go and find that after this and have a watch and see what we think. But yeah, this guy's, and I'll put his channel down below for those that haven't seen it. But this is just so cool when you see the game, because we get so used to it. We're like, hey, yeah, server meshing's coming, blah, 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 blah. If you don't know what server meshing is, and you've never heard that concept, it's like, they're doing what? You can do what? You can play on different servers and then meet up without changing servers or seeing that you're changing. What are you talking about? That's not possible. And of course, now it is possible. So it's very cool to see that. So So, Stunner says, I also really enjoy seeing non-SE players' reaction to the Squadron 42 demo. Yeah, absolutely. Squadron 42 gives me a chance to play a solid single-player experience, and then I can use the PU to do it my way in an open universe. Yeah, nice. Really, really nice. Okay, let's jump across. Let's see what he's got to say. We're going to sit on opposite sides. This is actually quite nicely laid out, but this is really, really cool. So, let's do dramatic fade of the music down to 0. Gone. Lovely. And then we're going to jump across and we're going to see what this guy has to say about Star Citizen. Or more to the point, Squadron 42. So this is a guy called Kai Zamet. I will put his channel, once we've watched a little bit of this, into chat. But whilst we're doing that, please feel free to answer the poll bit about, you know, why you think, if you think, Squadron 42 or Star Citizen is seeing more players now. Watch it. Twitch has gone up basically threefold. Let's see what you think.
I wondered if it was in it anymore. Poster child's in it. Hello everyone, welcome in. My name is Kai Zamet. I'm a director, cinematographer and writer based in the south of the UK. And today, to do thanks to you guys and your awesome recommendations, we're going to be checking out Squadron 42, the live gameplay reveal. It's due to the overwhelming amount of comments I got from you guys about me checking out this Squadron 42. I have no idea what this game is, but I know this is pretty new. This is 3 weeks old, this video, at this point of filming this. And you guys have just been going bananas at me saying, Kai, you have to check this out. This is the most cinematic game or game trailer.
Lovely. So he watches the whole thing through. Let's just get to the point where he starts properly, because he watches all the creation and stuff, and we know what that looks like. So let's have a look.
A real. Whoa. Whoa, okay. You've got my interest. It's the cloud texture that sold me over. Oh, look at the way it draws off. Hang on a minute, look at the aspect ratio.
We're clear.
United Empire of Earth at 2945.
Civilian traffic is restricted under lockdown.
Dude, this feels like a cinematic experience already. What is this? 4125? No, 2160. 1718? Like anamorphic?
Redirect to sector 7 Bravo Echo for immediate tasking.
Love this establishing shot. Very cinema, yeah. Cinema means movement. This teal and orange they're doing here. I can't work out the space asteroid with this cloud. Dude, this feels enormous. I've got a very wide, ultra wide screen, so for me this is chef's kiss. Very cool.
Those bagpipes, man.
I love the
every single
blurring
time,
that
up
they're
the
doing
arm,
on the models.
Every single time.
This is so immersive.
Doesn't matter how many times I watch it.
In position, holding now. Understood. Stand by for further orders. All flanks. Bishop wants to lose.
Oh my god, I don't even know where to look.
Copy that.
Check those bagpipes
Jesus.
into my
Javelin
veins.
class
as the tourist.
destroyer. So what is this? Is it like a Mass Effect game or something? I love the build.
It's the bagpipes is limited, yeah, absolutely. M11M, hello, bud.
Nice little
I know I just wrote you,
emotive score.
but a couple of hours ago, proximity sensors on the other side.
So yeah, it's interesting to see that from someone who's not necessarily looking at it as a game primarily. They're looking at it as this is where I work, and I can identify all the things that you and I look at and go, well, that's cool, but don't necessarily, you know, initially go, hang on, what's the aspect ratio? Like, look at the establishing shots and all that sort of stuff. You can identify, I think, in an abstract way when it doesn't work and it hasn't been done very well. but to hear someone with like his experience and his knowledge talk about it is really, really cool. Again, Kai Zamet, I'm going to go and find his link whilst we're watching the next little bit. Yeah, and I'll pop it. So, you know, if you enjoy this stuff, if you haven't already, go give this guy a like. And then I promise, we'll go back to Star Citizen. We'll go talking about the stuff that we've got in the poll and that. Just whilst we're talking about Squadron 42 and stuff, I thought this might be quite cool to take a look at. Hey Rash, good to see you, my friend. Funny enough, I've been watching this dude's videos and his reaction to SC stuff, especially because he knows nothing about the game. He did all the ads, didn't he? Yeah, like in 2 parts. Yes. So yeah. He also reviewed all the ship release adverts. Yeah, exactly that. So let's
Side of the jump got twigged and went dark. The word is it might be that clan that we've been battling with.
Great.
I guess that last fight didn't scare them off quite like we all hoped it would. Honestly, we've been out here so long, I don't know what to pull for anymore. I just want
Interesting.
to let you know. I'll write as soon as I can. Stay safe.
You don't.
That's his link.
You don't watch stuff to read. I say it to clients all the time when they're like, "Can you put big bits of text in or whatever?" Dude, no. Look how quick those cuts were with text, and he was reading the bloody thing. Is that Gillian Anderson? Fuck me. How much is this game spent on budget?
Never gets
Well,
old.
we don't talk about that, Kai.
Sir.
What's really cool about this is like
Bit jumpy
he
there.
has no idea of the stars
I
in it.
used to do the same thing when I was first coming up.
He's got no clue. It's brilliant.
Looks much better now.
Flight deck whenever I could to watch the launches.
Look at the way the camera look. Got a pedestal going up now. Lens flares. Look at this. Beautiful. Yes, please.
The thing's a beast.
Just one part here. So if you notice, there's a couple of bits that didn't happen in this sequence that did happen when we saw this up to the, you know, in the other Squadron 42 intro sequence, right? One of those is that when the Hornets come in, they had the pop-up thrusters that were going up and going down. That didn't happen in this. Also, I think they're doing something with the facial tech. They're doing some tweaks because this facial tech is not as on point as the stuff in that demo. So it'd be a really weird step to go backwards. So I think that they're doing some changes, and what we got here was basically the interim product. So yeah. Everyone in chat is watching someone watch someone else watch the Squadron 42 trailer. Griffiths, welcome to the internet, my friend. This is how this works, right? But yes, let's have a look.
We'll be strafing now.
Nimble, too.
12 maneuvering thrusters and 3 mains. It sure sounds like it. Sir.
That.
Captain McLaren.
M1, 1M, I'm going to come back to your comment. Remind me once we finish watching a little bit of this.
Oh,
gonna
they're
come
cutting
back
the
to that in a
blink turn and all.
I saw you apply to the Flight Academy again.
Yes, sir.
Keep your
He
head
loves
up.
the backlighting. Like he
Took
just
me a
he
couple times
loses
before I
his
got in.
over it. It's
Oh, is that where they keep going close on her? Basically, they're trying to show that she respects him by keep having these close-ups of her. Because
interesting.
normally by then you'd have had a
Hadn't
medium
picked that
shot.
up.
Oh, it's first person.
Gaining gear, report to your turret.
Wow, look at that. Kinnell bells. Look at the shallow depth of field on that glass. Oh boy, this is interesting. I like this.
Just
Oh, please tell me you
hearing
can see like your
that
legs
wonder
and
for the
things.
first time is refreshing.
Oh snap, I forgot to tell. I talked to Watkins in logistics and he said the recon team was wiped out.
Really? Then why are we sitting here? Bandulon's stupid. If they know we know, they would have hit
It's
us.
got good lighting on it.
Hey, they can
Yeah,
take as
he
much time as they want.
just loses
As long as they wait more
about
of a
the
chance
lighting all
before
the way
the twos
through.
get back.
Well, they can hit whenever.
Hey,
I was waiting for them to look at us.
where's your helm?
Can't gun without it.
Fuck me, it's so wide. I'm looking left or over to the right.
Come on.
What I like about the lighting is they've got the very futuristic vibe on.
I gotta get to my turret.
Got to go up.
You'll learn, Notorious. You'll learn.
Wow, it feels very immersive, as in the world, as in like the NPCs are moving around, and yes, every game does that.
And I haven't been able to sleep since.
But of such high quality,
Yeah,
it's like a cutscene.
You've got a point there. There are sections that are far too dark.
Loving the
You're
shadow,
entirely right.
heavy contrast, beautiful. Loving these lens flares. You've got a teal and orange look to it.
Although,
like that, accents of white.
there
All
is a
the
reason to
screens
that as
and
well.
stuff on it.
Been tuned up for weeks.
It's this Polo Initiative horse shit. High Command's been freaking out about having to make cuts.
Like, the character models are not the best I've ever seen, but they're...
told me they got denied on extra.
But it looks...
Because I actually think the character models we
believable.
have in game at the moment are better than these. So there's definitely something. Mate, trip hazards
know it
on a
sounded
warship.
almost oxymoronic, but
it's
like-
something you got to get used to. Everything's
Yeah.
at about shin level. So if you bang into it, like, you get something called hatch rash, which is just red blotches and cuts all over tunes. It's just an occupational hazard, my friend. So, just to keep on then, we'll go and see what he makes of the whole bishop thing. Let's see what he thinks.
About time. Shut.
You say shut up? Dude, is that who I think that is?
Yeah, it is.
This is Admiral Bishop.
This is Gary Oldman.
For 6 months now, we have faced an elusive enemy determined to...
Mate, they spunked all their money, haven't they, on the...
I don't know if it's here, but he realises all of this is in
There have
engine
been
as well,
battles.
and that's quite a cool moment. He's like,
There
wait,
have
this is
been
in engine?
Each
And they've got Mark Strong in it and all.
proven yourself time and again, but today I must ask for more.
Outrageous, this.
Still my favourite.
Oh, goosebumps for all
Moment
this
from this
talent.
We fight one last battle.
Oh, wow, it's... Oh, nice orbit strafing.
Recon indicates the entire Vandal fleet has just entered the system. This means
He was
His
so
face is
shocked.
changing.
His face changed.
headed our way.
Is that a glitch?
Yeah.
Fair play, though. Still put it out.
Now some of you will not survive today.
The face swap, yeah. So shocked he
But there
turned
will
to
be no
someone
time
else for a second.
sorrow. We will have to grieve for them later. Because
This
2
one zooms
billion
in.
souls in this system
And he
hang
picks
in
it
the
up.
balance.
Good thread of storytelling. You saw it first. Zoom it down.
Illusions about what we were up against. In the history of the UEE, a kingship has entered human space.
There's quite a lot of lag on this, isn't there? But fair play.
Battle of Orion, Siege of Tiber,
Interesting Buzz Lightyear colours.
Caliban. But we are the
not
Second
wrong.
Fleet. History will remember us differently.
I love that
We don't
actor.
have to worry about it being kind, because today we will define ourselves through
Hey,
our
Artemis.
actions. We will not lose the system. We will not fall back. We will win because we have to. We fight today. So in 40 years from now, when you're surrounded by everything and everyone you hold dear, and they ask, what did you do in the Battle of Vega? You can look them in the eye and say, I held the line. Men and women of the Second Fleet, I am proud to stand with you today.
And that still goosebumps
That
as well.
motion blur on it.
Bishop out.
Nice speech.
Any word from the recon team?
Not yet.
Dude, what a fucking cutscene.
Yeah.
All
It's not
this
finished yet.
movement of the camera is drawing you in as a viewer. Feels like a movie. The shallow depth of field, the actor coming in and out of focus. Like real life. Look at this Dutch angle. We're on steady ground. We're about to shoot off. A couple of times the camera jarred my head, but that's what made it real. They were diving in, tilting the camera up.
It's that variation on the music as well.
It's
It's
bagpipes.
just because I know what he's going to say, right? I'm
Interesting.
not pretending like I know what he knows.
Great use of texture because of the shallow depth of field, as well as they were using lens flares in there. Or lens aberrations to give us that foreground, background. Very Americanized in the colour. Definitely with the black levels.
I haven't been this excited for a single player in forever, question mark? I don't know. I think Total War Warhammer was the last time I was really excited for a single player like this. Obviously very different type of game and whatever else, but yeah, just incredible stuff, right? I'm going to move back across and, you know, maybe if you guys behave yourself, we'll watch some more later, all right? But you got to eat your greens first. Sorry, I've spent the weekend with, I don't normally spend time around kids, so I've had to kind of very rapidly adapt this weekend, being around a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. It's been a bit jarring. Like, I can't swear? What do you mean I can't fucking swear? It's been a bit weird. But yeah, Cyberpunk. Interestingly, Jackal, I didn't get swallowed up by the hype for that. I think because I had my game, that I was like, I'm waiting for this to release and I'm really excited for it, being this one, obviously. However, having said that, a certain person in chat got me to play Cyberpunk and the Phantom Liberty DLC last year, and yeah, favourite experience, but I wasn't as hyped for it as many people were when it came out. I waited. That's it. Oh, good Lord, Stunner. You're awful. Yeah. Instant family, exactly that. I get that. After 20 minutes into it, I could not put it down for 3 weeks. Loved every minute. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed Cyberpunk from start to finish, and I am currently on my second playthrough. So the first time I was a nomad. This time I'm playing through as a corpo, and then obviously I'll start off as the Night City kind of ganger for my third one. So it was a male nomad, so now I'm a female corpo playing through, and just incredible. I'm really looking forward to doing a couple things differently, and I didn't get the secret ending last time, so I'm hoping I can get it this time. But yeah, we'll see. Whether I follow a guide and do it, or whether I just hope I do the right stuff, I don't know. We'll see. If I don't get it this time, I'll definitely follow a guide for the third one, though. I'm always going to be hyped for certain crowbar-wielding theatre... Oh, I see what you mean. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, enjoyed. So I completed the first one, as everyone did, I think. Second one, didn't complete it. I think it lost something for me, and I don't know why. Although I would really enjoy playing Half-Life Alyx, I think. The VR one. I think I did quite enjoy that, but I don't have VR and that. In Cyberpunk, most, if not all of them, it's just very different as to the standards that you get. So, yeah, and like who's still with you at the end, and like, you know, who's there's a very interesting mechanic, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's a very interesting mechanic where you basically at the end you check in with other characters. And it's interesting because the options that you've chosen, especially in how you resolve the game, right at the end, dictates how they respond to you, and that's a very interesting, quite disheartening. If you some options you're like, I really like that character, and now they're mad at me. But yes, I had to try to play Cyberpunk 3 times in order to get it, said Jagnation. Satisfied enough with the Pan Am ending? Yeah, absolutely. One of the options, potentially Mad World, I think. But yeah. So yeah. Yeah, so that Liberty one is the one I did first, Jackal. So yeah, which is why I had to play it again. I was like, I can't leave it like this. But yeah. Mad World, I would give it a go. I really would. I mean, the first time through, I did everything. I was enjoying it so much. I got to that point where I was like, I'm not going to leave anything else. I did all the Cyber Psycho stuff. I'd maxed out all of the fixes. I did everything. There was nothing left. To the point where I think most of the gang fights that happen sporadically, apart from the ones that always happen on repeat, they were all done as well. The trauma team fight under the underpass, like, I'd done all of it. I hadn't left a single thing. I'd also broken it a couple times, getting stuck, trying to get into places I shouldn't have been getting into. But yeah. Oh yeah, Jackal, that was just rough. But yeah. So that's that, and we might come back to Squadron 42 and talk about that in a little while. But I'm aware that I've put "Is Star Citizen Getting Good" into the title, and I've put it on the thumbnail, and I don't want it to be a clickbaity thing. We've already kind of talked about it. But I think right now, I tell you what's really surprised me is over the last week I've been doing Hatheror. And I am used to Hatheror not working. And for some reason, it's working again. And not just sporadically, every single place I've been now, even if the dish is aligned, you can now put the blades in and do the thing again, and the juvenile Valakar pop up every single time, sustained over about 4 days. It's just working, which is incredible. I love the Hathor locations. For me, at the moment, it's the most rewarding gameplay loop, because I don't like where space combat is at the moment. The stealth, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to spend, 3 hours going around buying particular components from particular stations, and then I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to yeet missiles at you until you're dead. Like, that's not fun. So I don't do it. So outside of space combat, Hathor is what I'm really enjoying. And to now see that working, when you put the first blade in, the dish turns and points at the laser platform. When you put the second one in, the petals open. And when you put the third one in, it actually starts transmitting. And every single time, obviously, the building shakes, and that's what summons the juvenile Valakar. I wasn't expecting anywhere near as many as there were. There are a lot, and they come out all the way around the building. Inside, right outside where you put the blades in, inside the main building, and then on the ground all the way around the outside of it. There are easily 12, 15 of these things. Easily 12, 15 of these things. All with 3 fangs, so loads of fun. And if you go and give it a go, you can do this stuff solo. But what I have found is since it's been working again, there are a lot more people down there. And every single time I've been down, there's been some sort of other player that I just kind of watch. And I don't like attacking people unless it's obvious they're bad guys. But, if I get into a position where I've got to engage them, then I don't take chances. I don't wait to see if they fire first. I will just engage. But yeah. Always turn off chat, says Takaragod. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. The entirety of Missile and E-War gameplay needs a serious overhaul. 100%. Absolutely. So, serious question though, Badgers, says Jackal. Do you agree with me that global chat is getting more and more toxic lately? I tend to stay out of it. I think... I don't know of many games where global chat is particularly healthy. I know one... Like, what do you call it? Final Fantasy Online, global chat doesn't tend to be too bad. It's just full of role players, and if you can deal with that, and the overabundance of people kind of catering to the, we don't do microaggressions, and we don't do, we check our privilege, and like, if you can deal with all that nonsense, like, global chat's fine. If that stuff winds you up, that global chat is just as toxic as everybody else. But yeah, I tend to not have the chat up just because when I'm recording stuff. So I've just got into the habit of hitting F12 and hiding it. But yeah, I mean, we played a game on Friday. We had 2 people in the Idris and they got into a fight and they basically rammed the gun and then made out like they could defeat as many Idrises as they want. It's like, no, you just rammed the gun. And, they spent a good 20 minutes in chat, like jerking themselves off about how good they were. Just a bit, you're like, ugh. Yeah. And then they basically decided, because they won 2 fights, and won 2 fights, the Idrises just turned around, basically ignored them, flew off to get repairs, that every Idris owner on the planet was A, soloing, and B, would run every time the main gun was destroyed. Which is weird. Especially coming from Polaris, who, run every time they run out of torpedoes. Womp womp. So yeah, it's been interesting. Commander Jack, I've had a bad run of crappy parties lately, and I might just be feeling a bit down. Yeah, I get that. Mate, if you want to come and play with links to the Discord, 9 PM UK time, so about the same time we started today, but on Fridays, mate, come and play with us. We'd be more than happy to have you. Sloth says, mostly just keep chat up to keep an eye out for if some areas are hot or if new people need help. Otherwise, don't play it much. Mine, says Sloth. Yeah, absolutely. Global chat, says Notorious, is only useful to identify pirates attempting to extort on the main public chat channel. Yeah. They had no weapons. We had no weapons, and getting rammed is pointless. Gameplay, says Saga. Yeah, exactly that. And then to claim some sort of victory. It's like, I just rammed stuff. It's like, all right, fine. But if they just rammed them and blew them up, they'd be the first to complain. And that's why I kind of just like, whatever. But yeah. So, yeah, this is going back to that. This is why I quite enjoy this now. Because, going before from the for the space combat, whilst the missions might have not been there so much, we've had Xeno Threat, we've had all these Idris missions. You can go take on Idrises, you can go take on Hammerheads, you can go do all of that stuff, right? For FPS combat, it's basically, until very recently, been you go into the same looking underground facilities over and over and over again and fight with NPCs who half the time are in the walls. And then we got the distribution centres, and they were interesting, but not enough to actually warrant being different. And of course, some of them you would get attacked, and you'd end up in PvP that you didn't want and whatever else. The reason I like Hatheror is because it's kind of Starchitect. Bear with me. I'm going to come back to this. But one of the interesting things here is if you look at what Starchitect's doing, so the way they're going to be placing facilities and outposts and stuff on the surface of planets as part of the Genesis, the Star Engine Genesis stuff, right? It's going to be, they'll have an area and they'll have a cluster of stuff, and it'll be like, hey, these are mining outposts. So everything you find will be mining, and if you find one thing and you explore around it, you're going to find more things, right? So it becomes this, oh, there's something down there, fly down. Oh, wait, this looks like a supply depot. I wonder what it's supplying. Let's go and have a look. Oh, there must be mining sites around here, because this is all mining resources. And then you go off and find the mining sites and whatever else, right? It becomes its own gameplay loop. You just find something, you go down to it, and it starts to tell a story. And you don't have to go somewhere and pick up your missions. You don't have to constantly be in your Moby-Glass. And this is what I like about Hatheror, right? If you didn't know, because there's no mission to go down there, right? You're not picking up a contract. If you go to one of these sites and just happen upon it, right? You go down and you land, and you're running around, and all of a sudden you see this blue terminal thing. You're like, what's that? You get to it, and you interact with it, and you get a blue keycard. Well, that's got to go into something, hasn't it? So then you go and explore. It's like, what does well, there's blue doors over there. I think I can put 2 and 2 together. Where are the red keycards? Or you do it the other way around, right? You go into the main building, and you're like, 1 red keycard, yay! I can open a red door. There's 2 more red doors. How do I get more? And then go into the buildings, and you go backwards. So you're like, right, there's a red keycard there, but I got to get through a blue door. Does that mean there's blue keycards? And it becomes the story. And then, of course, there's other reasons to go down there. So even if you're not doing the mining stuff, even if you're not firing the laser and going through all of that stuff, you can still go down, find the loot for Wicklow. You can still go down and fight the Valakar and align the facility, even if you're not going to use it, to get Valakar fangs, which apparently are going to be useful next patch, more so than they are now, and all that sort of stuff. Just adding it all together it's beginning to feel like a story. I've found a location, I've got stuff to do, I can do this at other locations as well. And then they're adding the new sandbox stuff. These are radiated locations with the large Valakar. If they just keep doing that, we're going to end up with loads of different locations, and hopefully they start to become not just ones that are told through, oh, this is the big thing this patch, and this is the big thing this patch. Maybe some of them won't even be on the map. You'll have to find them naturally, right? And then they become these locations that you remember and all that sort of stuff. Because why not? If you look at the size of these planets, there is so much stuff that they can add. And so many of these experiences where you just go down and you find something. So you don't even have to be, on a contract to go and do something or headed to a specific location. You can just go down to the planet, fly around on the surface. And this starts to very seriously sound like an exploration gameplay loop. Because you're just going and exploring. You're just going to see what's there, and you find something and you investigate it and you move on to the next thing. That sort of experience, however limited they are at the minute, you know, they're limited to Hathor. They're going to be limited to these new locations. There are distribution centers that are there that, even if you haven't got the mission, right, if there's some bad guys there, you'll still get into a gunfight. Hell, you even get into gunfights against the security forces half the time, because half of them look like the bad guys, which doesn't help. But, you know, you've got these experiences. Those sorts of things will keep people's attention quite reasonably. Bad World, go and get your head down, mate. Good to see you, my friend, and yeah, take it easy. I'll see you next week. FPS exploration, yes. Ship exploration is still very limited, if that's all it is. It won't be all it is, Rash. Absolutely not. But, you know, in terms of that going down onto a planet and that experience, the archetypal space experience of go discover a planet, walk around, find out what's down there sort of thing. You know, hopefully not too Alien-esque, but something like that. Shady Face, Jamlak, welcome in, guys. Good to see you all. Yeah, so Shady Face says, players ram because there's no real consequence to death in its immature behaviour. If I can't win, no one can win mentality. That. Absolutely. I hope they connect it all with roads, says Stack. Good lord. That'd be a little bit chaos. Yeah, well, it would be chaos. Those huge long roads like through the Nevada desert in the US, just driving for hours. You need fuel stops and that sort of stuff as well for that to even make sense, right? You need vehicles with the range, otherwise what's the point in having the road? And I don't think we're there yet. But yeah. So not too alien-like, you're going to love 4.2. Well, stuff. Rah. Yeah, so the road tech, Rash, is the river tech, right? It's basically the same thing. It would be the same tech to place roads and stuff as it would to do rivers. So, gonna need an in-game radio for all those long roads. Sloth, I think you've just discovered a niche in Star Citizen. That's gonna be your thing, my friend. You know, on the road again. I'd love to see road ambushes between distribution centers. Don't use ships. We don't want the cargo destroyed. Maybe. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then the other thing that's going to come down the road that we don't seem to have much of an intent on at the moment are the planets where you know, vehicles are going to be needed. So lots of rock canyons where it's just not going to be possible to go and land. Jungle planets, you know, lots of forested areas where you just can't land. You're going to have to find a clearing somewhere. And then under the canopy, you've got room to move ground vehicles, hover vehicles, that sort of stuff. But you don't have room to move like a Connie or an MSR or whatever. That sort of stuff will start to bring those sorts of ground vehicles really into their own. But yeah, absolutely. I do think they've done some really impressive stuff over the last 3 months, because we had at the beginning of it was end of February, beginning of March, they basically did the 3-hour we're going to fix everything live stream. We're now at the end of May, so it's been a solid 3 months, quarter of a year. We've got far more stable server meshing, especially now that we're after the free flying. We've got missions like Hathor. Yes, they were released. They didn't work at all. Once they were done, that was it. That seemed to somehow have become fixed just after a free fly, which is kind of cool. This push towards stability and things working seems to be getting people's attention. Something has shifted, and it's not just the content, because we've had Hathor for a while and it's not been up around 9K. So something is shifting. And it's probably a combination of what you've all talked about, which is things like content creators and all that giving it some attention. Likely the stuff with blades, if you want to call it a controversy around the blades, that's going to have brought people in as well. And people are going to be like, well, you know, I'm just going to go see what's happening. And maybe that's holding their attention. That would be an interesting plot twist, right? It's interesting to see the game shift now, and it's clearly not Squadron 42 that's doing this either, or certainly not on its own. The reason I mentioned Squadron 42, sorry, and that's what I wanted to come back about, M11M, that's why I wanted to come back to your comment from earlier on, was you made a comment about things not working, I think. And that's why I wanted to say, you said stability is better than it was, absolutely. It's a low bar, this is true. Content is basic and does not work properly. So this is what I'm saying about the Hatheror sites. There are a couple of NPCs stuck in walls who have a really annoying propensity to throw grenades through walls. But now that this is fixed, if this is what's happening, if the end of the free fly means that Hatheror on that can work properly again, and they can continue to work on the stability and have it run with ever larger player counts, that's really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the capital ship missions are going to be that they've said that they're working on, because with the Idris being here, with the Polaris being here, with ships like, you know, the Hammerhead, and I know they're not quite capitals, but still, you know, ships like the Perseus coming along, it's going to be really interesting to see what they look like and what they bring to the game. And the other thing that's really impressive, and someone mentioned it earlier, I think Jamlack said about like the NPCs talking smack. It's not just the NPCs talking smack. They are getting aggressive, and they are reacting to where you are. Now that the server FPS has gone up and they are thinking faster, they're getting quite scary at times, and sometimes it's, you know, I've had a couple of gunfights where I've just had to get out, and put some distance between me and the NPCs, because I wasn't sure that even staying there, you know, I've had them flank, I've had them work together, I've had some taking cover whilst others are pushing up on me, and they almost, although they're not intentionally doing it maybe, but they're giving the appearance of leapfrogging, so that two at the front take cover, and then the other guys are moving past them whilst the other guys are giving covering fire, and you're like, well, good lord, you know, that's a lot of rounds coming in. So that's been really nice to see, and I think that's made it a far more engaging experience. I remember running around the underground facilities with a knife, melee killing every single NPC in a bunker. If I did that now, I'd die. There's just no way I'm coming out of that alive. Or I get 1 or 2 kills and then have to run away and heal up, and then I'm going to walk out with like everything being at least a tier 3. Like literally every part of my body a tier 3, because they're aggressive and they respond and they create distance and they're covering each other and they're reacting much quicker now. You can't just run up on these guys. So that's going to be really cool. And we've been told that this patch coming, and I don't know if it's this location or whether it's coming later, there are the doors where they recognize what you're wearing, so you'll need to wear a specific set of armor to get in, or a specific uniform maybe, almost a la like heists, disguising yourself as security or whatever else. That's really cool, and jackal that. I cannot wait for Siege of Orison again, because that is going to be an entirely different experience, with NPCs working with each other to cross the concourse, attacking you out in the open, and then defending buildings. Like, we run through Siege of Orison with impunity. Now, I think a lot of people are going to hit that, and it's going to hurt. Shady Phase, yeah. So I know they said it was going to be next patch. I don't know if it's been tested in the PTU yet. I'm sure it has, given what you've just said there. Yeah, the idea that you're going to have all these extra things to do, very cool. You know, now picking up Ninetales and wearing it is not just oh god, you look like one of them, we're going to friendly fire you by accident if you're not careful. You know, the security uniforms in the bunkers. Maybe these uniforms are going to be things where later on you're going to go and have to go to locations that have nothing to do with the mission, go and get some of that clothing or whatever else, secure it by some other means, and then go to that location, and it's an option to sneak in and be doing things more stealth. So, you know, the melee takedown, the, you know, going to stab them and then fighting back and having to tap F to kind of overpower them and stuff. You can see all of this stuff is kind of starting to creep in, which is really nice. It's starting to look really good. Sloth says, fingers crossed Siege of Origin comes soon. My body has been ready for months. Absolutely. Smoke grenades, says Shadow Girl. Smoke grenades are now on the ability to distract guards by tossing random small items. Snipers raining down on you as you crack on towards the objective. There's so much stuff. You can see it, right? And this is simply, you know, people were saying, oh, well, the AI needs to get cleverer. And that was never the case. I remember playing on some like 100-player servers where there was only 8. And we used to say that they were Derp Team 6, and all of a sudden they become SEAL Team 6. And they go from they'd stand there while you were shooting them, and they'd watch the person in front of them get killed. They'd be like, what? What's going on? And all of a sudden, they become completely mental. And just absolutely aggressive and very, very terrifying. And that's the way they're going now. Yeah, Derp Team 6. Derp Team 6 to SEAL Team 6. And they are definitely on the road to becoming SEAL Team 6. The idea that, you know, later on they're going to have personalities where you can have ones that take cover and return fire and suppress and all that sort of stuff, versus ones that just panic and blind fire and run away, like firing over their shoulder and stuff. The idea that you're going to have different kind of like words are hard, but different levels of NPCs. You know, the kind of ex-military, you know, mercenary, we know what we're doing, this is not our first rodeo, all the way down to, well, this seemed to be a good idea. Click, click. You know, the bit from 13 Hours where he looks at the interpreter who's just been handed a helmet that's like 7 sizes too big and a pistol, and he's carrying it in both hands. He's like, and the sniper just kind of looks at him and says, well, that dude ain't coming back. It's going to be like that, right? So yeah, that's going to be lots of fun. Flashbangs would be nice as Shady Face. Oh, God. Handheld shields, physical armor, tier 1. They will have their own stats and packs. And seeing the loot change as well is kind of cool. So seeing different types of armor, because that can't be that hard to change up. The loot tables for NPCs can't be that hard to change up. So starting to have things that they're carrying on them. But if you go to, you know, Hatheror now, and you get the big, I mean, any of the blue containers, but the big ones especially, you're getting unification medals, you're getting stellar cartographer medals, you're getting, you know, 6th platoon and all that sort of stuff. The whatever it's called, is it the Tavaran war markers? You're getting artifact fragments. There are different coloured sights now. One of the holographics comes in like an olive green. Haven't seen that before, but it's in now. Lots of fun things in those containers. I've picked up 4 PAARs, the weapons that came in the Citizen Compacts, of all colours, including the Citizen Com one. I picked up the Blackguard one. I picked up the Digital Camo, whose name escapes me. I've picked up a fair amount of stuff just running around. The Vault weapons are aggressive. The SMG and the Assault Rifle. That Assault Rifle needs a hit to the face with the Nerf bat. To have more ammo than SMGs, better range, and higher damage is a little bit silly. But yes. They will have their own stats and perks as Rash. Absolutely that. If it's not a glowing, large, pristine artifact that's 100,000 years old, I'm not interested. Good, then you can't have any of mine, because I don't have any of those. So you're not having any of mine. So there. But yeah, some really interesting kind of bits to be found, reasons to go out and enjoy these areas now, over and above just a bunch of loot that doesn't mean anything, because now you can take it to Wicklow, you can trade it in for armor and everything else. And now that the laser seems to be, I mean, I haven't seen the laser fire because I've not taken it that far. Not as a solo, there's no point, right? I'm just going to get ganked. Haven't tried out the Volt Shotgun, don't tend to use the PTU too much. I've always had bad experiences with the PTU. With stability and all sorts of stuff, and the problem is it winds me up, and I know that kind of hurts because I'm supposed to be carrying all the news and stuff, but hey, I'll see it when it's live and it gets in, and you know, we'll go from there. I mean, now that I've done the hard drive change around and I've got a lot more space on the PC, I can certainly muck around with looking at the PTU more often, but at the moment I'm not a subscriber, so I'm not Evo Carty, so I'm not going to be at the cutting edge of that anyway. And because of my job previously, although not so much now, but because of my job previously, I've never been able to keep up with the news That is changing at the moment because of the job that I'm doing and the workload dropping off. So maybe I'll look to be a little bit more news. Luckily enough, I had the time off during like launch week and stuff to be able to live stream every time it changed over. And if not, I just started work an hour early, finished an hour early, and was able to jump on with you guys. But yeah, I'm going to end the poll there and see what you guys think about why more people are tuning in to Star Citizen. Make badges Evo. Do you know what? I look at some of, or not look at some of, that's wrong because they don't film it still. But I hear stories of what Evo have to go through, and that just sounds like slamming my fingers in a door. For an enjoyment thing, I might as well just go and stub my toe. It just sounds rubbish. And I know, you know, you're supposed to create news and all that sort of stuff. Just not me. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to put some music back on. Obviously, I'm annoying people because a few people have left. But there we go. Ta-da! Da-da. So yeah, some kind of cool bits there. Let's see if I can find it. We got anything? We got anything newer? Oh, I play this stuff, and they get angry at me because this is all trademark music. But seeing as I don't monetize my stream, who cares? So yeah. Sorry, I was just slamming my fingers into the door. Yeah, that, Janoma. Exactly that. How hard is it to simply make sharks with friggin' laser beams on their heads to Shadow Girl? Quite. Note to self, says Sloth, scatter my artifact stashes. 100%. Yeah, especially when Shadow Girl's around. So yes. So lots of stuff there to have a look and consider. I do think that it's... There we go. Let's pop some music back on. I do think that it's a very good time to be part of Star Citizen. And, you know, maybe if you've got some friends that are thinking about it, the next free fly might be a good time to kind of get them in. Because I think we're going that way now. And I think this stability push is likely to continue up to Squadron 42. Would be my prediction. And they might get to the point where they're like, hey, more stable, we can now put in more features. But if they're not, they're going to continue that drive. Because what they're going to have with Squadron 42 is a bunch of people who play what we all hope to be, especially with the amount of time they've given it, a very polished single-player experience. They're going to play, they're going to enjoy, they're going to come to Star Citizen from Squadron thinking they're going to get the same. And if it's in the state that it's in now, boy oh boy are they thrown for shock, and they will never touch Star Citizen again. So I think it's likely that you're going to have this continued drive for stability and content, so there's much more that when people change over, and then we'll get all the new features and stuff. So yeah, now's the best time to invest in an Idris. Welcome to Star Citizen. Maybe not that far, maybe not quite that, but yes. Maybe not as your first purchase. Maybe try something like an Avenger or something like that first. But yeah, so, and that's that. And then, of course, someone mentioned, I think it was you, Stunner, about being a bit disappointed that at Gamescom this year, there wasn't anything on Squadron. I think we are now looking at, and this is not from a pessimistic view of what CIG are doing. I think we're looking at end of quarter 3, beginning of quarter 4 release next year for Squadron. If only because Grand Theft Auto 6 is out in May. And yes, it is console only. But in terms of news cycle and everything else, nothing is going to compete with it. Right? Even if it flops, and let's face it, it's not flopping. Even if it flops, it's all the media are going to focus on at that point. Right? Nothing is going to compete with it. Grand Theft Auto 5 became the fastest single selling piece of entertainment ever across any of the spectrums: movies, music, books, TV, whatever. Grand Theft Auto 5 was the fastest selling piece of media entertainment in existence. Still is, right? On the strength of that alone, Grand Theft Auto is going to sell, it's a 6 is going to sell exceptionally well. There is no point in competing with it. Just none, because even those who have console and PC will be playing on console. They'll be playing Grand Theft Auto. Unless they're not into it. And let's face it, looking at how many copies it shifted, that's not going to be a lot of people. To quote Chris Roberts on the Cyberpunk launch, that won't happen to Squadron, says Commander Jackal. Yeah, exactly that. Rashmore says, I'll come on to Alien Week in a second. The trailer 2 is so good, it looks real, says Shadow Girl. Exactly that. Yeah, so I think that's where we're going to be for Squadron. They are going to continue working on this in terms of stability, in terms of content, right up until that launch, and have a far more populated gameverse. So the videos that they've seen, things like CitizenCon, the weather, the lightning strikes, those sorts of graphical things, the large groups of outposts, even if the missions are very samey, even at that stage, they'll aim to have a lot of that in, because then people who come from Squadron 42 will stay. It'll be interesting to see how they work access from Squadron 42. Whether they are just going to go, no, you need to buy Star Citizen, or whether there's going to be some sort of code for a week that they get to come in and try the game. Don't know. But, you know, in the nicest possible way, offering the free sample to all the kids coming out of school is probably the best way to go about this. And that's not me endorsing any of that, by the way. You just know what I'm on about, right? You know what I'm talking about. You show people what is going to be the most involved single player, multiplayer space game in existence. You show them ships that you can walk around and fly, and turret gun and everything else, from space down to planet, through multiple systems without ever encountering a loading screen, without ever changing servers. You know, we get so used to it, and because we've seen it through all its teething problems, to us we're like, ugh, yeah, but it's not that. To people coming in, if it's stable when it comes in and it's running fairly well, they're going to come in and they're going to want to stay. Free fly is already a thing, Rash. Yep, 100%. But, you know, if it's in a gap between free flies, I don't know when the next one is, if a gap between free flies when it launches, why? The other thing is with Squadron 42 is you're probably not going to want to compete with other things in your calendar. So maybe you don't want to compete with ILW. Maybe you don't want to compete with IAE, right? Which might mean that I was wrong in terms of the space that we're at. You might not want to compete with CitizenCon. Maybe releasing it about a month before CitizenCon would be a really strong thing. It's like, hey, did you enjoy that game? Because in a month we're going to talk about the multiplayer one. We're going to put a bunch of presentations up and you can watch that. Maybe they do a Squadron 42 free fly as the game launches for a couple of weeks, so people can play that and come and try the other thing as well. There's a whole bunch of things that they can do, but I don't think they're just going to leave it for, there's a free fly in a couple of months, give it a go. I think you can do something a little bit more involved in that to, you know, try and get the people across to, you know. I've got to stop doing that. Honestly, YouTube are going to be like, you out. Just out. No if, buts, or maybes. Get out. So yeah. Rashmore says, before SitCon or early in the year, close to ILW, and you end close to ILW? What? No, so ILW is going to be too close to, ILW is going to be over the top of Grand Theft Auto 6. So it's not going to be that. I was talking about free flies, not launch windows. So yeah. Would be interesting if they were to implement a free trial for a week for new accounts made and the free fly period for people to return. Absolutely. There's all sorts of stuff that they can do. But I think forever, I'd say forever, since the game went, hey, we're going to have everything in your hands in 2015, and then they went, no, we're going to do an engine rebuild. In 2016, I think they announced that. I think since then, it became abundantly clear that Squadron 42 would have to help feed people into Star Citizen, into the PU. Especially seeing as that point, I think we had the hangar module, or we were about to get the hangar module, but we absolutely did not have the persistent universe. We didn't have Olasar or anything like that. So, you know, I think people building their confidence and stuff, Squadron 42 needs to be a tour de force, and Star Citizen needs to at least hold a candle to that experience. It needs to feel similar in terms of what you can do, in terms of the sights that you see, even if there's not all the activities to do and you don't have like a data running and e-warfare and all that sort of stuff, there still needs to be that kind of, okay, I can get that fixed with a group of friends, so that the lack of content is made up by the fact we're doing this as a group of friends. And it's, as we all know, Star Citizen is a lot of fun when you're playing with, whether it's one buddy or a group of people, the fun increases. So yeah, Sloth says, oh sorry, no, I read that one out, so we're there. So yeah, I realise I might have had the music on a little bit loud for all of that, but then again, drowning myself out, you guys might have really appreciated that, so I don't know, you tell me, whilst I drink my diet. Okay. Yeah. It has already been a boozy weekend. I don't need to add to it today. I need to detox for a little while, because I had a bit of a day at drinking in the sunshine yesterday, barbecue, paddling pool. Oh, I didn't go in, obviously. That was for the kids, but yeah. Squadron 42 better have a ton of secrets to uncover. I wanted to have a lot of replayability. And that's the other thing as well, is that they said, even when the F8 went on sale, and they talked about, yes, you're going to still be able to earn it in Squadron, and of course it's not going to be the only thing you can earn out of the game, so there are other ships, whether they're ones that we already have, or whether they're going to come alongside Squadron, remains to be seen. But they are certainly looking at going that way, and that's an interesting way to go. It'll be interesting to see how that works. Commander Jackal says, I bet we'd have Squadron 42 launch just before IAE next year. Enough time for the newbies to get excited, and hey, here's new shiny ships for you. Very possibly. I think we'll see it before CitizenCon, potentially. But then again, thinking about it from a CIG workload perspective, the crunch up to releasing the game into CitizenCon, does it get its own launch event? Do we get to go to that? Like, how does that work? You know, do they do a CitizenCon but a Squadron con? Like, because I'm not going to lie, I would go. I also hope they do some sort of physical collector's edition, even if it's not, you know, with the game and stuff in it. It's just a code. I'd really like that, because I'm a sucker for physical merch with games. I got both the Total War physical things. I got the Diablo box that didn't even have the game in it, the Diablo 4 one, just because it looked really cool, and it's a whiz at Halloween. Like it, I had Jehovah's Witnesses call the other day, freaked them out. It was great. So yeah, having some like candle of Lilith, electronic candle on the desk, and it was just like, and the book with a pentagram on it was just like, come in, let's talk about God. Yeah, I've got to stop. But yes, so I think that's like looking into to the end of 2026. That's where things are going, and I can only hope that this will increase the viewership, not from my own perspective, right? But this will, sorry, you guys have obviously got to the bit where I talked about Lilith and the Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, I got to stop doing stuff like that. I've just seen lol. And now I've completely forgot what I was saying. That's it. It's out of my head. I don't even know. What was I saying? Someone remind me. Rewind, go back to it, whatever it was. I don't know. But yeah, I think from here to 2026, this is what we're likely to see. We're likely to see some progression to put Star Citizen where Squadron 42 was going to be. Exactly that. Thank you, Rash. It will increase eyes on Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Obviously, there'll be an explosion on Twitch like there always is when a new game comes out. It'll be interesting to see how quickly that peters off. But I think if it remains as cinematic as this, it'll be really interesting. And can they kind of maintain that hype all the way through the film? Or the film. See, I'm even calling it a film. Can they maintain that hype all the way through the game? That would be interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, they've had more than long enough in it, haven't they? Even if it's not been a case that they haven't been able to iterate everything, the idea that they can at least kind of plan it out and go, wouldn't it be cool if we did this, that, and the other? Hopefully they're going to be not too far from that. Yeah, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and or our Lady and Saviour Lilith? Yeah. But it'll also be interesting to see, you know, because I think Star Citizen has the potential to be that one of those games that streams really, really well. Because not everyone is going to be able to get into a big org. Not everyone is going to be able to do, you know, massive fleet battles. So to be able to watch that be streamed, that's absolutely something I would do, right? If I'm not involved in fleet battles myself, I would absolutely love to watch them on Twitch, or YouTube, or whatever else, right? So I think it has that potential to be big as a game, big on YouTube. Look at the storytelling potential and all that comes with it. Some of the fan-made stuff is really, really cool. Expat Brat does that kind of live documentary newscaster-esque. She's got preset camera angles, and she jumps and she talks. The face-over IP is really cool for that. There's a lot of potential here for the game to kind of build into that space, and I'm sure people will come up with their own news channels, very much like they did with Eve. There'll be like the in-game like lore stuff happening and being recorded in real time on YouTube and Twitch and everywhere else. That'll be very cool. Del, thank you very much. If you're enjoying the discussion, says Del, please show your support and smash the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a future video. Del, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it. You already have big streaming names interested in the game, just not interested in invested in the current state. Exactly that. And people are going to come back to it. And, you know, when it comes out, even those who are only ever going to do one video on it, that game, everyone said wasn't coming, is here. Is it worth the hype? Right? And whether it is or it isn't, it's going to bring it to a lot of people's attention. 100%. Commander Jackal, if anything, with only releasing it on PC, it'll hopefully confirm PC is valid in the console times nowadays. Yeah, I haven't had a console in a long old time. I just haven't felt the need to. Most things tend to come to PC, so meh. Also, the whole PlayStation versus Xbox thing is just so dull. So dull. Yeah. Thank you, Shadow Gal. I will read that out because I'm British and I don't like it. You know, it freaks me out when people give money. But I appreciated your super chat from earlier. Thank you. Sloth says, heck, just seeing people do random shenanigans in SC can bring more eyes in. Idris, it's a great place to do things like hide and seek. Squadron 42 on consoles when? Yeah, well, I guess we can talk about that. I know it hit the news, but they put out a couple of job advertisements at CIG asking specifically for devs with console experience. So they're obviously looking at it. And they would be mad not to, right? If you can port it across, why wouldn't you? If it's been designed to run with a gamepad anyway, or at least they're creating the option for it to run with a gamepad, why wouldn't you do that? I got a few free flies to helm the Idris, an absolute wild night, says Matthew. Yeah, I bet that was interesting. It's like, you need to slow down now. No, you really need to slow. You see that? That's a station. That'll win. But yes, 100%. PC Master Race? Absolutely. If you're playing games and having fun, then honestly, who cares? But I'm not about to pay more money to go and play stuff I can still just play on PC. Nope. You're all right. Thanks very much. But yeah, so interesting. We'll see. Yeah, I think I've covered pretty much on the whole Squadron 42 versus Star Citizen how they're gonna work together. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say, right, in terms of the stability issues and Star Citizen needing to be able to hold a candle to Squadron 42 at the time that it releases. The idea that Grand Theft Auto is certainly going to have some sort of impact on when they launch, all that sort of stuff. I think it's really that. That is the third. Right, what have I missed? Will someone please in Discord, what have I missed about the Prowler? That. What have I missed? I've missed something. New, right. So Alien Week is coming. It always comes a week or two after ILW. There's one of the things that stood out. It's in the sneak peek picture. Okay. I'll send you on Discord, says Rash. Thank you, Rash. I appreciate it. So one of the things that's been really interesting with ILW is that what we didn't get was we didn't get a concept ship. Right? There was no concept ship or anything like that. Oh, I don't know why that's made noise. It shouldn't do. I should be on streamer mode. Maybe I need to turn streamer mode on. Should we turn streamer mode on? Before everyone bombards me with notifications. Yes, we're now in streamer mode. That's good. I've got my eyes on you, it says. Interesting. Okay. So, let's try this. Open link. So I'm just going to open it now. I don't think you guys can see this just yet. And then we'll go and have a look at the Prowler and see if if we can identify precisely the part on the Prowler that this is supposed to be. But thank you, Rash. I appreciate it. That's good stuff. Let's have a look. Robert Space Industries. No, it's not my homepage, before anyone asks. So yeah, Alien Week, Prowler, possibly. Let's have a look. Explore. Ship Matrix. That's what we're after. Because we can use it to move the 3D model around and see if we can identify precisely which part of the Prowler we think this is. So, Prowler detail page. Let's have a look. Let's do some internet sleuthing. Everybody loves a little bit of internet sleuthing. Okay. Oh, I think I see what you guys are meaning. I 100% see what you guys are meaning. Stop rotating. Stop it. What? Why is it rotating? Stop it rotating. No, stop. Stop. Why? Why is it? No, I know you can, because I'm trying to get it up before it, but it's spinning. Why is it spinning? Why? Ugh. Okay, we'll go. I'm gonna have to refresh it because now it's not working. I've broken the website. Help! I've broken the internet. Okay, so he's just taunting us for now. Okay, so I can see what he's doing. Right, let's jump across. Let's see what I can see. So this is the sneak peek. Okay, for those that don't know, the Prowler's got basically like an anti-grav Nebuchadnezzar from Matrix style set of things on it that work kind of like thrusters at the moment, I guess. But what they're intending to do is the Prowler's intended to come onto a ship, use the air shields, drop off people, then board it from the outside. So it's almost like to allow it to hug and it come in with a very low signature. So the idea was it could do all of that undetected. Obviously, it's not going to work like that 100% when we get it, because that would be massively overpowered. But this is the sneak peek, okay? And this is the Prowler itself. So that bit there, and this is the bit why I don't like it spinning. Stop spinning. Stop being rubbish. Why are you being rubbish? So let's just move half of that off the screen. Right, and as it comes back, let's do that. So this bit here is very obviously something like that bit there. Right, maybe the neck here. No, I want to zoom out. I don't want to. Zoom out once, and then it... give it a rest. CIG, please fix. So, yeah, that. So if we look from underneath, yoink, and then go grab that back. I'm done. I'm out. You know? So this bit, I don't know. I can't see the bit that it entirely matches unless this bit here is precisely that bit there. But that wouldn't make sense because this bit out here is widening and that bit isn't. Unless it's this bit here. Is that where it is? Is this the bit? That's it, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, very possibly. So if we spin this around again, just because it doesn't want to seem to play the other way. Yeah. That looks about right. Right. So you got the hole widening at the top here. That makes sense. I'm seeing that. Prowler. So, here's the interesting thing. With that, so I'm just going to put it back that way so it spins back past. So, if we look at Discord, what I've been sent there, it says I've got my eyes on you. So these bits obviously are the air shields. The hatches, they have air shields. These are where you literally jump out. You've got jump seats basically facing out in each of these sections. The tail bit opens just back here. That's what they call it, the space prawn. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Prowler variant. Interesting. I like the Prowler a lot. Are they going to make a liar out of me? Did they hear me say, do you think, that I'm going to buy this in game? And they're like, nope. Yeah. The hover things are angled. Yeah, these are hovered as well. That's what that is. You know, even these bits overlap slightly. It continues out at the back. Exactly the same here, right? Bearing in mind that what's on the website will also be not 100% model accurate. You know, even this idea, it comes in drops like that. That there. That's underneath. Prowler is 100% too expensive, but worth it. Prowler's good. Prowler Mark 2, says Del Kenobi. Stop it. It's a beam weapon, says Truther. Nice, good call. It's a beam weapon. That's what it is. The sneak peek is right before the modular section with the drop suits. I could swap it out for the new bombs they have. I don't know if it's going to go bomber variant. That would be... Why would the tagline be, I've got my eyes on you? I'm not convinced that's what it is. That's not saying that's not what it is. I'm going to take some convincing on that front. Yeah. Prowler variant. So this is why, because it's not often I'm right, so I'm going to enjoy this. So forgive the ego being trotted out for a little bit. Called it. Called it at the finale where we talked about there had been no concept ship. And I said, I wonder if we're getting something for Alien Week. Yay! This is like, it's like a broken clock, right? It happens about twice a year. Let me have my moment. I know, like, everyone's like, yeah, but you were wrong when... Badges, you said the ICTY wasn't coming. I did say the ICTY wasn't coming. I'm leaving the short up on my channel because I can be wrong. It's okay. Right? I would put there, here's why the ICTY is not coming. I didn't even know to call it the ICTY thing. I could think we were calling it the Combatless at that point, right? I was wrong. That did not age well, that video, but that doesn't mean I'm going to take it down. Because we're all human. And just because I got a microphone and a camera and a a logo behind me doesn't mean that I suddenly go able to predict the future. But on this instance I was right, so sorry, 46 viewers down to like 3 in an instant. You watch. But yeah, I posted an image from some comparisons in chat, and I've completely lost what you've just said. Sorry, AV. Posted an image from some comparisons in chat. Seems to be a little off from the field of view, but definitely lines up. Yeah, 100%. It's never been said to be modular, says Matthew. I don't think it had. Alien hover backpack. Come on, CIG, make my dream come true. There's a lot of wishful thinking in that Shadow Gal. That's not to say it's bad wishful thinking, but it is wishful thinking, I think, in this instance. But seconded, Give us kind of like the ability to jump around a little bit. That would be cool. Recon variant doesn't make much sense with this look. Well, I mean, from the stealth, I mean, it kind of does. I guess it could be a scanning thing, but scanning gameplay isn't that involved at the minute, unless it's like, Badgers, we heard you complain about stealth. This thing just finds stealth ships whilst remaining stealth itself. Oh my god. Could you imagine the fighter jock rage? I kind of want it to be that just for watching Spectrum burn for 72 hours. That would just be wonderful. Even if it wasn't that. So yeah, seems like to be a scout or E-War, but at the same time they got us with the Raven variant we wanted / thought it was. Well, this is true. Do want the Stinger though, says Matthew. We're getting the Raelian for Alien Week, 100% guaranteed, no hopium required. I mean, it could. Wouldn't it be cool if it was both? Wouldn't it be cool if it was both, right? Both is good. That. Running theory is that this is the Jackal. Prowler, Jackal. Yeah, okay. I can see that. Whatever it is. It's supposed to be a tank. Why would it have hover... what, a hover tank? Really? I mean, hover things don't work well as it is. A hover tank. Ugh. I don't know. Way to invalidate the Tonk in one smooth step. Although I suppose if you make it slightly more expensive than the Tonk, you're also solving that problem, right? Yeah. Yeah. Recon makes sense to me, says Del Kenobi. Absolutely. Space Ego. Wow, Badgers is right about a concept, and even Board Gamer is right about someone's. The planet must be aligned or something. Shut your face. Get out. You know where the door is. Rude. So yeah, would settle if we can get the alien hover tech to act as a parachute when ejected from a ship. I still want the Final Fantasy Spirits Within gel guns, where they fire it and it forms a gel and they kind of fall into it, and then after a couple of seconds it just becomes water. I want those things instead of parachutes. Just fire the gun at the ground and just go boop, boop, and then do this kind of really slow kind of like maneuver into position in this gel, and then it just evaporates around you and you're like, ta-da. Hey Wiggy, good to see you, my friend. Yeah. So, a more combat-focused Prowler variant would be easier to make based on what's currently available to do in game, especially given what we've got so far this year. Yeah, absolutely. Some sort of gunship variant, but also I can see what you're saying about the bomb things, because just slightly modifying the hatches and having the bombs hang as you walk up that centre passageway, that would work too. Also, you can make that entire area just kind of like not an access, and you just have the ladder on the side, because if you've not got, you know, kind of that sort of stuff walking around, if you don't need access to the drop bay for troops, you don't need the back ramp. You can just come up the ladder if it's just a crew thing. So I can see Bomber. I just hope it's not. I feel like Bombers are just getting trotted out all the time at the minute. It would also nice to have some of the torpedo bombers actually have bombs. CIG. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Issue with the more combat-focused Prowler is what do they do to it to make it more combat without ruining the stealth? I don't think they do. I think if it becomes more combat, it becomes less stealthy. Potentially. What I think is they meant the grav tech was to be used to create a Tavaran tank. Potentially, yeah. But still, I mean, hover stuff moves really quickly, doesn't get involved. Although I suppose, terrain becomes less of an issue for it, terrain is also stopping being cover. Although you could do some fun stuff where you pop up, then switch the engines off and just disappear again. Like when people shoot at you, you just whoop, drop out of sight and then take the damage from impact, but still. CIG might be leaving the concepts behind now, says Jack. I'm going straight to Fireball, avoid the CCU game. Possibly. Although, you know, CCU games don't rely on concepts. But I see what you mean. We did say that was an option we talked about as well. Maybe they're getting rid of the concepts. Maybe they are going to stop that stuff for now. I'm just going to do that again so people can see what we're talking about as we talk about it. But this section here, this diamond section, seems to be that diamond section. So it's upside down at the minute. I don't quickly know how to rotate this image. But yeah, that's kind of where we are with that. Love Spirits Within. Sharon was one of 3 people who watched it. Yeah, Spirits Within was good fun. Because that's where the Prowler dropship came from, right? It basically is the dropship from Spirits Within, which is very cool. They left the Prowler fighting Tonks lore, but avoided talking about making the Prowler doing that in game for years. Yeah, it has some sort of mode, but it seems to be more about clinging to the outside of hulls rather than following the ground. So I think that's probably why we haven't had it yet. It's not intended to be like a ground variant in that respect, because that would be quite overpowered when you think about it in flying. The low level stuff, if you could have it like a hover bike where it naturally repels the ground, and only if you do something silly with it will you hit the ground, that's actually massively overpowered for low flying ships. You imagine that, you repel the ground naturally. Like, that's just way to break the game. And then, you know, leave the ground at will. Nah, absolutely not. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. So link it. They haven't seemingly had any intent about its holding capability in years. Yeah. Again, for that reason, I think. It's the Prowler variant. John Cruz says we're all waiting for the racing variant of the Prowler. Oh, God. The only thing I wish they did with it is they elongate it a little, by about a third, because it's very kind of... It's almost hunched over, right, as it's so close. I think you can make it longer and it would still look very, very cool. And just elongate kind of the spokes on the wings and stuff. But yeah, other than that, that's my only issue with it. I love it. I just feel like it's been, like, compacted slightly. Yeah. Oh, one of these that holds the Atlas suits. The Atlas suits are too big. The Atlas suits are too big. I don't think you'd be able to do that. I think you'd probably be able to get the Atlas suit in, but you wouldn't be able to get out of it. Which would be very boring. Because then the pilot's like, no, I've locked the exterior and now I'm leaving and you can't get out and you can't open the ramp because you can't maneuver because it's full of people and you can't touch the button and haha, I've just imprisoned a bunch of people in Atlas suits in my ship. I don't. Be cool, but we'll see. Tavaran Jackal was a two-seater with a second seat controls the movable shield and there was a Tavaran tank in the lore. Yeah, possibly. Alien miner ship or Savage. It's the ICU bit that I'm not buying though. Doesn't need to be a bomber, just a combat vessel with living quarters aboard is still stealth. Might make it very attractive. Yeah, Anvil Hurricane was built to counter the Jackal. It's about time we started seeing drone gameplay. An alien drone carrier with attack drones would be interesting. Wouldn't it just? Some sort of like automated little carrier thing where you get it to attack and they come in and, you know, small shields, not very durable at all, but lots of them fast moving, you know, so it's like the death by 1,000 cuts sort of system. That'll be cool. So yeah. If you ever played MechWarrior Online, you used to have a strategy called pop-tarting. You jump up, shoot and drop quick. Could do something similar. Does that not look really silly though? If you're watching a bunch of mechs quote-unquote pop-tarting, does that just not look ridiculous? Just like they might as well be on trampolines at this point. So yeah. It would be somewhat OP, but at the same time it would justify the price a lot more. Lore had it fighting Tonks and such on the ground. Yeah. Prevailing theory for how the gravel levels work is still a bit like landing mode. It'll be much slower, but a lot more stealthy, which will let it go dark and drift dramatically. Exactly that. So you go uncoupled, put yourself on an intercept course, and then activate the Gravelevs kind of right off the ship so you don't hit it, and then your crew get out with magnetic boots or whatever and board their way into the ship itself. That'd be kind of cool. Would be so cool to see the Prowler use the same droopiness as Edge of Tomorrow. Did I read that right, Jackal? Droopiness? Is that what your droopiness? Sorry, I don't think I'm getting that. It's late. I need to go to bed. So yeah, Tavaran don't use Atlas suits. Jag Mason says, does the fact that this is a Speria and not strictly Tavaran make a difference? I mean, to the point, I think Xperia exclusively make Tavaran designs. Or remake, more to the point, reproduce Tavaran designs. I think, right? Prowler, Talon Shrike. Is that right? Check my math on that, someone. Yeah. As far as I know, they said they found intact ones of the Prowler, so presumably it would have been, droppiness. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Droppiness, not droopiness. Hey, Essay, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, we'll have to catch up soon, Essay. But hope you're doing well, buddy. Aspiria make repros of Vandal too. That, yeah. So Alien reworks, but that very clearly the styling is the Prowler, right? At very least, it's Tavarin. Aspiria copy Alien Tech. They also make blades. Yeah, that. It isn't Tavarin exclusive, no, but it is Alien exclusive, and that body language is Tavarin exclusive, right? In the same way that, you know, they talk about design language for all the different manufacturers, they're not going to use that for, you know, you're not going to suddenly see this on an Anvil ship, because it's not an Anvil design. So, you know, soon, TM. Just say the Prowler is an old design, a bit like the Perseus. Aspiria updated it and reused some alien tech. Yeah, so a lot of these things, they're rebuilt for us to fly, humans to fly. So there's a bit of modification and stuff going on. But yes, airdrop troops would be amazing. You can absolutely see that coming. Yeah, that would be, you know, being able to airdrop onto platforms and stuff. I guess the Prowler can kind of do it already. I love the fact that when you go into VTOL mode, the wings kind of angle downwards, and then the blades on the wings. I'm not going to be able to zoom out here properly, am I? Here we go. So these blades on the wings actually then splay out. And the idea is, and they've said this, is that if you look at where they are, they cover the doors on the side. So when you drop down, those blades are in front of you, so you can shoot between them and over the top of them. So they act as their own deployable cover, which is really, really cool. So yeah. So as it comes in, you drop out. That moment of vulnerability where you're kind of hitting the deck, coming up, gaining situational awareness again. Those kind of blades, I guess you call them, the wingtips, are designed to stop you from getting slotted easily and allow you then to, you know, as it takes off, you move out under them. Yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, the blades provide cover, exactly that. Since a dropship doesn't make sense if it's just dropping normal troops, everyone can just be standing. Why would it not make sense? I guess I'm not getting where you're going with that. Sorry, Matthew. I don't know the point there is that in the center of the Prowler, obviously they all they face out in standing seats. The idea, I guess, being that maybe when they give us the tech, you can bring your weapon up and actually shoot out with the doors open using the air shields, because it doesn't stop rounds, so you can shoot out as it's coming down, and then released from the drop seat, you jump out, hit the deck, provided by the shields. The Prowler takes off with the shield still in place. They lift up over you, and you're ready to go, and then you move forward. That's kind of cool. I need to try and airdrop over Lazarus. I take it that's the research stuff in the new place, but that'll be cool, given the name. The variant, being again dropship related, doesn't bring anything to the game, and will be a very sloppy variant. Yeah, so it's, and this is where I think the ICU bit, whether it's some sort of stealth missile, bomber, whatever it is, but yeah, that's going to be the key to it, we think. And then we're going to be like, wait, that was a bit of a weak link when it actually gets released. But yeah, it's a very interesting setup. At the moment, every ship can handle people standing up. A Prowler can hold less people, as say Cuddy Black. It doesn't do anything since we're meant to walk around the ships to repair them. Yes, 100%. Absolutely. Yep, and armor doesn't do anything in that. It doesn't mean that it won't. So they've got to make it for what it's doing at the moment, but we know it's not staying that way. So at the moment, why would you take the Prowler over, say, the Cutty Steel? Well, first off, you've probably got some pride and don't fly a Cutty Steel anyway. But even if you don't, at the moment, there is no reason, other than the fact that the Cutty's the Cutty and the Prowler looks cool. In the future, we know why, right? There's the game as it is now, there's the game as it's going to be. And the answer is, the Prowler is going to be a far more effective combat dropship in the future than even the Steel will be. because you'll be sat down. Getting out will be a pain in the ass. You'll either be dropping through the side doors where the guns are, so you'll be either limiting the field of fire for the gunner, or you'll be stopping them from firing because they don't want to blat you in the back of the head as a friendly fire incident, or you'll then have to wait for the ramp to open and all that sort of stuff. You can open the air shield doors without the pilot at any point, come down, you're still protected by the shields, and you literally disengage from your seat, step out, and you're in combat. It's going to be far more effective. You know, I think you take even that amount of players, hard turns to get in are going to knock everyone to their feet in the cutty, right, with the force reactions and stuff. This thing is going to be able to come in as hard as it wants, right, scream to a stop, and we'll have everyone out in the time it takes to disengage the seat and step forward 2 paces. That's going to be how long it takes to disengage from this thing. Add a couple of seconds to allow them to orientate themselves on the ground, using the Prowler's wings as cover. Prowler then lifts off, it's gone, and the people on the ground have got a choice. Either try and engage the Prowler, knowing that they're probably not going to be able to kill it before the people get out, and if they do, they're then holding rail guns, which you're going to need to get a face-on shot, really, for people to kill them, and leave yourself vulnerable to them, or prepare for the troops and the Prowler gets out unscathed. It's actually quite a nice little mechanism. So I think the Prowler is going to be very effective, which is why I'm a massive fan of it. So yeah, we could hold the ship at 1500 above them in the storm, go for a walk in Titan suits hospital tries. I don't know how much that's going to work. I'm also, even with things like the Geo with the thrusters, I'm not 100% convinced that those thrusters are going to be able to arrest a terminal velocity fall. But we'll see. So yeah. Heat to disappoint, says Stunner. It's clearly a plane with pontoons meant for taking off and landing on water. Well, you spoilt the surprise. Thanks, Stunner. I have pride, no steel, says Jackal. 100%. Salute, sir. Yeah. So, not true, Matthew. Repairers in you are meant to run around the ship. Yes. In space, where you're weightless. Right? Doing that with hard maneuvers on the ground, you're still going to have the issue where, because there is gravity external to the ship, you are going to fall down, right? This is why every time we've ever done a combat drop with the back ramp open in any of the Friday Night Ops, or now Friday Night Shenanigans, because we're not quite at the level of Ops yet, we all lie down, because otherwise you get yeeted out the back hatch. Which is very funny for everyone else to watch, not particularly funny for the person involved. So yeah. Who would use Drake? Such nonsense as Rash? Absolutely. No downdraft with the Prowler. That too. And the hover thing, if it does work over ground and all that sort of stuff when it comes in, that's going to be great, because it's going to be able to come in and get to that height very, very quickly with minimal chance of it stacking. I'm really looking forward to seeing it do it like on landing pads, on distribution centers, and the tops of buildings, because why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do kind of like repelling without the repelling, like combat drops onto roofs? Just so much fun. Like Hatheror, being able to put them onto the roofs of buildings there. You've instantly got height. People can't get up to you without, coming up a ladder where you've got that really annoying animation at the top where everyone can unload into you and you can't do a thing about it. So yeah. Heinrich says, should I opt for a C2 instead of an Ironclad if I love flying the cargo but hate stacking boxes? I mean, Ironclad's a lot of boxes, right? But yeah, I mean, the other thing as well is I would probably hold off on that until they get the auto-loading stuff in properly. And we see a lot more of it. Because, you might be able to buy your cargo, auto-load your ship, and then run around and do some of the missions on site. Go and do whatever it is you need to do, come back. Even if it's go make a cup of tea, come back, like, yay, loaded. And off you go again. I think even with auto-loading, stuff like the Ironclad is still going to take a long time. So if you're like, no, I just want a space truck, you might want to go for a slightly smaller truck. But I would certainly hold off until it gets in and see how much you enjoy it. There might be something about it you go, actually, this isn't too bad. Also, are you using the Atlas to load stuff? Because it makes that a lot quicker. And it's very quick to rent in-game. You don't have to buy it. I think it's like 40,000 UEC. Might be a bit more than that now because it's been in a while, but still, it's a very, very quick thing to use, and you just place it. You don't have to bother with all the scrolling in, scrolling out. You literally just look at where you want, you click, and it just zips to that location. So Atlases are worth their weight in gold when you're moving cargo, which is cool. So yeah, fuses also shouldn't be getting shot out every 5 seconds. Yeah, you'll have not just with the fuses you're dealing with, which hopefully are a little bit more resilient. Brackets a lot more resilient later. You'll obviously have components and all that other stuff to do as well. So yeah, don't forget about the Ironclad's retractable ceiling, massive plus for that ship. Absolutely. Yeah, I would hold off, mate, and just, you know, the thing is, with so many things in games, all the common sense and stat bashing and arguments in the world, you're still the one that's playing it. You're still the one that has to enjoy it. So I enjoy ships that don't make a lot of sense to play versus other options, right? There are meta options and all that sort of stuff. I want to play what I want to play, and that's that. Full stop, the end. Because I enjoy it. And that's my reason behind it. And that's why probably with like the ship-to-ship stuff, I'm going to enjoy the PvE far more than the PvP. Because I don't have to be metagaming in PvE. I can take up the ship that I like the look of. I can take up the Gladiator, for example, and still have a stab at PvE. Whereas in PvP, I'm just going to get my backdoors smashed in. Right? Full stop, the end. It can't hold up against the other stuff. So yeah, you got to be a little bit kind of careful with it in terms of everyone telling you these are the options, because you're the one that's going to play and enjoy. So until it comes out, mate, I'd stay where you are, give it a go. If you don't like it, find something else. But you might be like, do you know what, I actually love this. I hate stacking boxes anywhere else, but this, I don't mind it, because I enjoy looking at my ship, or, you know, I enjoy using the Atlas to do it, or whatever it is. But yeah. Badgers loads viewers cargo for free, but only on the Liberator. Stunner, you know where the door is. Don't let it hit you in the backside on the way out. Or hail the Perseus, and there's 50 SU of cargo. Yeah, people keep talking about putting a Nurser in there. It's like, I'm not. I'm putting ballistic rounds. All of them. And then I'll just be like, keep firing till you run out. And then the 6th crewman on board is absolutely going to know what they're doing. You are putting hard rounds into that ammo loader until you can't see anymore. So yeah. We need 2 things to happen to the raft. Bigger, bother with the Atlas space, and truck can carry 3 SU. What? The raft bigger brother with the Atlas space, and a truck can carry 32 SU containers, albeit 1 or 2. Oh, okay. So maybe like the Spartan, but instead of the troop carrying or the Centurion or the Ballista sat on the back, just having 32 SU containers of, yeah, on the road again. Yeah. Breaker 1-9. Looks like we got ourselves a convoy. Why do you need an NASA when your ship don't die? Yeah. Why do I need medical when I'm putting everyone else in the hospital? Why would I do that? Nice. Exactly that. The need for more DACA is eternal. Perseus will answer that. More DACA? Yes. Do you have DACA? Yes. How much DACA do you have? Yes. Absolutely. So yeah, we'll see. If you use the Atlas, try to free look instead of turning manually, makes things work much faster. Good tip. Like that. Hopefully, Henrik, that answered your question. But yeah. Is it true that the Perseus got up to size 8s? We don't know. There is as much evidence for that, I think, than there was in the other rumour that went around that I actually talked about one rumour. I haven't seen it confirmed yet. Has it been? Someone correct me. Someone's going to be like, they mentioned it in this really random place in backside of internet somewhere. Confirmed, or was this just it came out of Bar Citizen, wasn't actually in the video, this was one of the conversations after that apparently happened when people weren't talking each other's language? They didn't say it. I don't know if they said it in the video. I don't remember they did. Only supposed leak in the Chinese thingamajig. Yeah, that's what I thought, Rash. That's what I thought. Badger, since I've reserved the name Achilles for my passage, you've got yours reserved. Good. I'm pleased you did before you said that. Funny enough, Achilles was one of the divisions in my new entry. It was Achilles. I was Battle Axe and Conqueror, or the because you just come up with awful names for everything. Achilles was ass cheese, Battle Axe was battle snatch, and Conqueror was conquer her, because you know, patriarchy. Since I've reserved the name Achilles for my process, what are you calling yours? I'm not telling you, because I haven't reserved mine yet. So nope, absolutely not. Sorry. Nope, not until I've reserved that name am I going to do that. I have seen, though, not looking at anyone in particular, Dal, I have seen some people sort of naming their fleets, and I'm not going to name anything, because I'm not going to say any of the names, but some of the names I've seen have been absolutely top line. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, big badges. Yeah. I could just call it my full username, because everyone knows me as badges, right? Because I couldn't. I think it was 2 letters too short to use my full username. It's normally badge. Everyone knows me as badges, or in game as Muck badges, basically. Everyone like MC badges. It's like, no, I'm trying to be Scottish. It's Muck badges. But yeah, I could just call it my full username, which is Badges Nadges. Because you said big badges, just sounds the same thing. Badges Nadges. Yeah. I used to go to LAN parties, and yeah, I repeatedly got told by the check-in staff, they were like, this is our favourite username of the entire LAN. Maybe the boomstick. Yeah, the old Warcraft. This is my boomstick. Yeah, it's good fun. Right, crikey, we went on for the Badger Bear. Yeah, Honey Badger. You can call it a whole bunch of things. Monster, how are you doing, buddy? You stealthed in there. Is this the first time you commented, or have I just missed you the entire stream? If I have, apologies. If I haven't, good to see you, mate. Yeah, it's been interesting, yo. Oh, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, because that's a lot of music that I shouldn't have been. Oh well, whatever. Nobody cares. Where's that? So yes, be working on a video this week because it's my week off. So woohoo, no work for a week. Did I mention no work for a week? No work for a week. Ta-da! So working on a video this week, and then obviously when 4.2 comes, we'll have a look at that as well, and all the lovely weather, and we'll try and do the new sandbox locations. I think the one thing that I'm hearing time and time again is it suffers from the same problem as the start of Siege of Arisen, which is there's a transit system, so you either get camped getting onto it or getting off of it. And if that's the case, because if you're having to camp a choke point like that, you just know we'd beat you in open combat. So, you know, you continue camping that choke point, because otherwise you'd lose. Just saying. So yes, there's that. And then just got back from work. Well, I hope it's not been too bad a day for you, Monster. And good to see you, my friend. Yeah, so that's that. 9 PM UK time on Friday, we'll be playing games in Discord. Links in the fold down below. So please do, by all means, if you're not already a member, you would be more than welcome. And yeah, we'll be streaming again on Sunday. And hopefully the video will be out at some point on Friday before the game. So something to look forward to for the weekend, sir. Lovely jubbly. Yeah. I think that's everything I wanted to cover the stream. In that case, all I have left to say, as he's frantically sorting it out in the background, because I always get to this stage and I always screw it up. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.